Hello, Care Bear here to share with you a fun knit that I did for a set of twins. This is a birthday gift for family, and I was looking for something fun to do for the twins' first birthday, and another family member said, hey, what about thing one, thing two? And so looking on Etsy and Ravelry and other knitting sites, a lot of people have used that theme for twins. And so I thought, yeah, I love it. I'm going to go with it. So let me show you what I put into this birthday set. The first thing was a sweater for the twins, and I used the basic pullover from Deb Gemmell. I've used this a number of times, and the reason I love this sweater is because it is such an easy sweater for the parents to pull on for children, because it's a roll collar at the top. They can roll the sleeves as the child grows, and it's a roll collar at the bottom. So it's a really, really easy sweater to pull on, and it's an easy knit. The yarn that I used for these twin sweaters is an acrylic and a cotton yarn. It's Bernat Softy Baby. It's 60 cotton, 40 acrylic. And the reason I choose this yarn is because it's so easy for the family to wash and keep clean, and they don't have to hand wash anything. And you know, when they've got a toddler and two little ones, you want to make their lives a little bit easier. So this pattern calls for a US 6 and a US 8, which is a 4mm and 5mm DK weight yarn, and you start with the larger needle to cast on at the very top to make it a little bit wider, and then you switch to the 4mm. The neckline is really, really short. It's just an inch or so that they do for just straight knitting. And then you switch into the raglan, and the raglan is yarn over increases. And you'll notice with this twin 2 sweater, I've got 2 stitches in that right between those yarn overs, and with the other one I have a single stitch in between for those raglan increases. So you work from the collar down, increasing depending on the size, and this pattern is for 1-year-old to, I think they have for 4-year-old, and I chose, obviously it's their first birthday, so I'm doing a 1-year-old. So once I got to the number of stitches, I put the sleeves on hold, and I continued on in the body, just knitting in the round for the body part. Now, I did incorporate, because I'm going with the thing 1, thing 2 theme, I needed a circle on the front of that sweater, and I found Steve Plummer has charts for circles, and so I used that chart to create the circle on the sweaters. And with this one working top down, I worked only on the front, and I used the Intarsia method. So I was knitting with the mint green. I picked up for the white, would knit with the white, then used another ball of the mint green to go to that side. And I worked back and forth on the front till I got to the bottom. When the circle was done, then I turned the sweater around and I worked only on the back and forth, just plain knit and purl until I got to the bottom, when where it was as long as the front. I joined the front and the back and continued on in the round. And then when I got to a certain number of stitches, you do a cinching where you decrease so many stitches in the round. And in February or so earlier in the year, I was working with a designer doing a test knit, and she had shared a link to an online calculator, which helps you determine if you've got to decrease so many stitches in a row or in the round. They tell you, you just put in the numbers and it calculates for you. So I use that to determine how to make that calculation of those decreases. Then I continue on using the 4mm needle all the way to the bottom, and then you just cast off, and then you get that nice rolled finish. Then you go back and pick up for the sleeves, and this pattern gives you the option to do tapered sleeves or to do just a straight sleeve. With the smaller ages, I do the straight sleeve. I think with 3-4-year-old, you might want to do a tapered sleeve. So I just did in the round till a number of inches, and then you have to decrease, and you can see the decreased line there. I decreased so many stitches in the round, and then I continued on with the 4mm needles, and you cast off to get that roll finish. Then I wash, actually then I had to go back and sew under the arms, mattress stitch under the arms on the left and the right hand side to bring the front and the back together where it was the knit for the circle. I washed and blocked it. I added my Care Bear Knitwear tag. And I also, before I washed and blocked it, I did a duplicate stitch with the words twin 1. I didn't use the words thing 1, thing 2 because we do have a number of elders in our family, and I didn't know if they would get the Dr. Seuss connection, and I didn't want to offend anyone, so I thought it's okay. The younger kids will get it, and I didn't want to offend any elders. So that's how, with that mint one, the twin 1, and I think that's called Aqua Mist. And then the second yarn, DK weight, same yarn. This is Dusk Sky. And with this one, I didn't do intarsia. I knit the whole sweater in this Dusk Sky color. And then I went back and put that illusion circle on following Steve's chart. And I did that whole circle in duplicate stitch, and I just didn't put any white wherever it was the letters or the number. And interesting, the duplicate stitch one, this second one, took 100, I'm just looking at my notes, 147 grams for this one, and working back and forth with intarsia, it took 158. So I don't know, I guess maybe my purl stitches are a little bit more loose. I have no idea. Same size, different method, but I got to the same. We got 2 sweaters done, and that's what I wanted. So that is the basic pullover. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to share with you about this. I'm just quickly looking at my notes. It's an awesome knit, and I've even used this. We have a knit circle here in my community, and there's some of our members are new to knitting, and after they did their first little garment, I think it was a scarf, some wanted to make baby outfits, and I suggested this pattern because the whole thing is knit. There is not a single purl. You do have to do some yarn over with the raglan increases, and you have to do knit 2 together for the cinching at the cuff and the base of the sweater. But there, you don't even have to knit under the arms. There's no Kitchener stitching. It's just all knit in one. So there's no sewing together. And I think that's a great pattern for people who are new to knitting. So if you're looking for a sweater that's simple and easy, check out Deb Gemmel's Basic Pullover. So that was the sweater that I put with the set for the twins. And let me show you the next piece that I added. I wanted to, I had a number of balls of yarn, so the next piece I decided to do was hats for the twins. And I wanted something a little bit different with the hat. I wanted something unique in the hat. So I was searching hat patterns, and I came across Judy Blackburn's fluffy brim hat. You got to go check out her pattern. It's fluffy on the brim, but on top she does this spiral topper, and I was like, yeah, I love it. I want to put that on top of the hat for the twins. So that's what I did. I used Emily's basic beanie, which is a fabulous hat. I've used it a number of times for the kids, and you have the option to do the brim or not, just leave it down and make it shorter. And that's why I love Emily's pattern. And then I used Judy's spirals as the topper. So let me tell you a little bit about the construction of this hat. It calls for DK weight yarn, so I used the Bernat Softy Baby. The hat calls for a 4mm or US 6, and they took 44 grams of this baby cotton yarn to make it. And the construction is that you start at the bottom, so it's a bottom up knit. You're using one needle size, so you cast on dependent on the size, and there are a number of sizes in Emily's pattern. You cast on the number of stitches. You can do a full brim to fold, or you can do a shorter one. I decided to do a longer one because I think I've made their holiday hats with a shorter one. So I try to change it up a little bit. And then you just, it's a knit one, purl one, pretty simple brim. And then once you get to the size that you want for the brim, you switch to the body. And then the body is just knitting in the round, really simple and easy. And once you get to the size that you require, you switch to the crown decreases. And there, I'll just back it up a little bit. You can see the decreasing in the crown. And it happens every other round until you get to the top and you pull the number of stitches together. And I did that for both the hats are done the same. They're both for, I think I did a 12 to 18 month size. And then I did Judy's spirals. I had actually written to her and she gave me some information on how to do it in crochet, but you can also do this in knit. And I put the link below for those of you who want to take a look on how, follow somebody on YouTube on how to do these spirals. But I just thought, they're so cute. And so I incorporated a long white and a long blue, short white and a short blue, and I just pulled those through and attached them to the top of the hat. So I just thought it was kind of cute to go with the rest of the theme that I had going on with the thing one, thing two. So those are the beanies that I made by Emily, incorporating Judy's spirals. So let me show you the next piece that I added with this set. I decided to include some mittens, and I used the mittens by Ruth. These are toddler mittens on a string. You have the option to use the string or not. This calls for DK weight yarn and a US 5, a 3.75 millimeter needle. I don't think I have those 3.75, so I use 3.5 DPNs. And it takes about 30 grams of yarn. And then I just incorporated again Judy's spiral at the top to keep the theme throughout with these mittens. So let me tell you a little bit about Ruth's pattern. It's really, really simple and easy to do this. It starts at the cuff and you cast on a number of stitches. You're working in the round on DPN. I guess you could do magic loop if you like. And it's a knit one, purl one rib. And you work the cuff as long as you want. If you want to fold it, you might want to do a little bit longer. Then you move into the body. It's just a plain knit. And she tells you exactly how many rows to do or rounds to do plain knit. And then you put you start to do the thumb gusset. And again, Ruth's instructions for this pattern are really, really simple. I think this pattern is only for a 1-year-old size, but I love it and I've used it a number of times. Then when you get up to the point, this point here, you are then going to put the thumb on hold and you continue in the round for a number of rounds till you get to the point where it's time to decrease for the fingers. And then you're decreasing on the right and the left of both the front and the back, knitting two together or slip, slip, knit until you get to the top and you pull the last few stitches together with a darning needle. And then I did, again, at the top, I did those spirals, just one spiral knit that I learned from Judy, and I put it on the top of both of these mittens. And then I just did the duplicate stitch on them. My husband said, why should the mint ones not be 1 and 1 and 2 and 2? I decided, nope. Being a former educator, I thought kids are going to have them on their hands and they can go 1, 2 and start to do their counting. So I added the 1 and the 2 on as duplicate stitch, which is really, really easy to do. And then I picked up at the edge 3 stitches. Ruth has that in her instructions, and I did the I cord for a number of inches or centimeters, and then once I finished, I added it to the other side, and I put my Care Bear Knitwear tag on to the mittens. And as I said, this took about 30 grams with the I-cord. Not all parents like the I-cord. The way I've put this on here, they can cut them, but I know this family, and I always ask the mamas or the family members who care for them whether they want them or not. And if they don't, I don't put them on. But in this family, they do want them. So I have included the I-cords for the little ones. So those are the toddler mittens on the string with the fun little spirals at the top. And then the last piece that I've added to this set are the little stuffies. Twin 1, twin 2, thing 1, thing 2, Rebecca Roberts pattern, which is a purchase pattern. And take a look at Rebecca's because they're way cuter than mine. These aren't the best stuffies that I've done. It's not Rebecca's pattern. It's definitely me, but I don't know. I just kind of struggled with it. But anyway, they're not the cutest, but they are twin 1 and twin 2. So this pattern calls for DK weight yarn, 3.25 millimeter needles or a US 3, and you need not too much yarn of the red. You need some white, very little black, and then whatever color you want to use for the hair. I used the color according to the sweaters, so I didn't use a lot of yarn. And then you also need the white for the logo in the front. So let me tell you a little bit about the construction of this pattern. You knit the body, you knit the head, you stuff it, you stuff the body. And I think this pattern is initially made to be put on a piece of fruit or candies or something in the base or the body of it. But she does give you instructions on how to make a base. So I did make a base so that I could then stuff it. And then you need to make the arms, and you need to make the legs. And then you also need to knit the hair and the logo piece, and then you put it together. So I did knit the head, and I knit the body, and then I stuffed them, and I sealed it off, added that base and sealed it off. And then I knit the logo, and then I sewed the logo on. And then using just some black DK yarn, I followed her instructions to embroider the nose and then the mouth and the eyes and the eyebrows. And yeah, then I used the black yarn to again embroider the twin 1 and twin 2. I then had knit the arms, and I did everything in the round. I did the body in the round, I did the head in the round, and I did the arms in the round, and then I stuffed them and I attached them as Rebecca did. And then I knit the legs in the round, and she does have a little bit of shaping with the foot. You can see there, she has a little bit of shaping to the foot. I knit that in the round and I stuffed it. but I sewed it on a little bit different. I sewed it on this way right through to the other side and attach the other one so that they could be movable. The arms were just stitched horizontally, so they can only move like this, whereas the legs allow for that movement. So this is just a red acrylic yarn, some white acrylic that I had, and I used up for this stuffy. Then I did the hair, but I only did the half the amount of the hair because she does this 14 repeat and then folds it in half. I only did half of that and wrapped it around the head, and then it didn't look so great. So follow Rebecca's, don't do what I did, follow Rebecca's pattern. And then I decided, well, I got to give some height to the hair. So I added, thanks, Judy, I added your spirals to the hair to make it a little more like thing one, thing two. So yeah, not the greatest stuffies that I've ever made, and it's definitely take a look at Ruth's pattern, way better than what I've done here. But I added my little Care Bear knitwear tag, and I will put them together. And with the sweater, the hat, the mitts, and the stuffies, I'm gonna put our Dr. Seuss books for the kids, and yeah, that's gonna be their birthday, their upcoming birthday gift. So if you're looking for some fun knits for twins, take a look on Etsy, take a look on Ravelry. Some people have done some pretty crazy creative things with thing one, thing two. Thanks for listening.